on ATN Politics Today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human traffickers.
I'm so sorry. We're really taking a lot of time before coming up again. This is Atn Saturday. My name is Angel Okoman, popularly known as Angelic Angel, and I have Wonderful people, lawyers, yeah, they are here. They've been voiced. Most of them, they are also public affairs analysts. And I'm starting with G.U.J. Ohale. He's a legal practitioner as well as a public affairs analyst. Good to have you on the show again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you.
Thank
and
you.
Also, I have here Barrister Chimicha Nyema. Sir, you're welcome. Good to have you on the show. I'm so excited to have you on the show. You legal practitioners are looking so wonderful today. You guys are looking so wonderful. Well, all right, the show is Atn Saturday. First of all, let's look at the stories coming from Delta State. The Nigerian Army has released the traditional ruler Clement Ikolo, earlier declared wanted and arrested over the gruesome murder of 17 soldiers in Delta State on 14 March 2024. The monarch was declared wanted by the defense headquarters alongside 7 others for alleged involvement in the act. He was released to Senator Ede Dafione, who stood surety. He was released during a brief at Army headquarters by the Director of Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, as you can see there on the television. So let's just look at, I would just want to see your reaction. First of all, I want to start from you, Barrister Ohale. What's your reaction on this? I know you know what has been really going on the Okwama community killings, when this man, a lot of them were involved, and even the monarch, his name was listed, and he turned himself out to the DSSS. He's been in the custody of the DSSS for a long time, but later on, the news this morning said he has been...
His availability also speaks volume of his innocence. I think that the Nigeria law enforcement agents vis-a-vis the defense, the army, they are doing well. His investigation or the army from their findings is that actually this person is not part of this crime. Then the army. In that, if every law enforcement agency and vis-a-vis the army, the DSS, including the EFCC, will be towing that lane, I think our court today will not be actually flooded with frivolous cases, because it does not stop anything in that death has occurred. It does not stop anything for them to actually arraign him and still flood the court. No.
Really release him, or is there anything you have to say on that?
Yeah, first of all, I want to condemn the act of killing the soldiers.
Yes, sure.
I have to condemn. Secondly, releasing the man is based on the investigation they carried out. And from what my colleague said, you don't arraign somebody without offense, reason being that he's the head of the community. Like myself, I came from the Fulata community, despite that the fact that my place is a bit peaceful for now. That's Obakare.
Okay.
When those boys were terrorizing our place, the head of the community, they ran at it, but the boys are armed with guns and some ammunitions. If he talk anyhow, they will... For the man to make himself available is to free himself from the allegation that he was involved in that act. And the DSS and the army and the police, those who are involved in that investigation, before they released him, I believe that they have carried out a thorough investigation to see to the fact that the man has no hand in what happened in that Okwama community. Releasing him is a good one after all investigations, because he can't arraign a man that does not have anything to do in a matter that is as weighty as that murder case in that matter. Like what he said, if you go to prison yard today, you see a lot of innocent people that were wrongly arraigned. Yeah. But because they don't have somebody that will stand in for them, they send them to prison for a crime they didn't commit. And that's very wrong. So releasing the man, I think, is a good one.
Okay. You've heard what he said. He said releasing the man is a good one, because a lot of people are really thrown into the prison. Those who are so innocent of a particular crime, they are just there, you know, crying and weeping, gnashing their teeth for a crime they did not commit. But today they said the man has been released. But definitely, that they release the man doesn't mean that they are not going to carry out any investigation anymore, because they also need to really question, get to the root of it, because it was the lives of soldiers who are guarding us, who are really protecting the nation, the citizens, and the property and environment. These are the soldiers that were murdered gruesomely. So proper investigation also had to be carried out. And they also set a very good example to other security agencies in case they are really having case like this, any cases like this involving murder case, or whereby someone has turned himself or herself out to the police, direct the hearing and listen to the man to see if he is guilty or not. Okay, let's look at another story. Former Minister of Defense, Lieutenant General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, has declared that Nigeria is a war front. So we want to look at the stories right now. Let's see if this is harsh. He said it's an embarrassment to the world. That he said Nigeria is a war front and an embarrassment to the world. He then appealed to the Nigerians to be their brother's keeper and says killing one another to attract foreign investors from across the world. General Danjuma, who spoke on Friday at the opening ceremony of the Nwonyo International Fishing and Cultural Festival in Ibi local government area of Taraba State, said Nigeria has developed into a war zone where citizens are killing each other. According to him, there is no sane foreign person that will come to our country to celebrate us if we continue to kill each other and make our roads unsafe for people to move around. As we are today, as Nigeria, we are a disgrace to the whole world. The country is a war front where our people are against our own people. We must put our house in order, because right now we are a laughing stock to the whole world. We must stop killing each other. We must make our roads safe. We must stop kidnappings. If we are expecting this festival to be truly international, we must have peace in our state and throughout the country. And he further said that the festival serves not only as a platform to showcase Jungun and cultural values, but also as a convergent point for diverse communities. General Danjuma thereafter commended Taraba State government for revitalizing the festival after 14 years and urged sustained efforts to ensure its success. Adamawa State Governor Umar Fintiri, who also spoke, described the event as a uniting factor among the neighboring states. He also assured that Adamawa would partner with Taraba State for the sustenance of the International Fishing Festival to thrive. Taraba State Governor Dr. Abu Keifat on his address said the Nwonyo International Fishing and Culture Festival, as they were talking, was revived to showcase Taraba street cultural heritage to the world. We are just actually trying to look at what really made the man to say what he said. That's Danjuma. And now my question to you is, Steve, I want to also go to you. Let me come to you. I know you follow the story, and man say that Nigeria is a war front, is a disgrace to the whole world. When I was actually going through this story, I was like, this statement is very harsh to the image of Nigeria. So I don't know. I just feel like it's too harsh. Though yes, we have kidnappings. We have everything is skyrocketing. We have banditry. We have people who are really perpetrating crimes and criminality in the area. But then, will it just come out in like that? It's being carried and say Nigeria is disgrace to the whole world. When you're comparing to the other countries, like as if they are immune to such a thing or something like that, I think it's harsh. I don't know what you think about it in your own. You're a legal practitioner and a public and social analyst. So.
All right. So we pray that Nigeria will not charge the man for defamation of Nigeria's character. All right. All right. Well, the whole thing boils down that the speaker actually used that choice of words to describe the menace that is happening in our country. Though it's his choice of words, that what he felt he could use to describe the menace. Imagine the story we just discovered and shared here, that 17 soldiers were killed. And the question is, if soldiers were killed, then what happened to the civilian, the defenseless civilian? So I think that it is out of passion. It is out of how he's trying to show how bad he felt with respect to the menace that is going on in our country today. He actually may not have intended to actually insult Nigeria as a country, but he is using that medium to communicate that it is important that we realize that Nigeria has a name, and that name ought to be protected. That name ought not to be soiled. In that, if you are traveling and it is said that you are a Nigerian and you see that you were given priority attention, you were actually treated very fine, you will be happy for yourself. And on the other hand, when you are traveling and you discover that once you mention you are from Nigeria, you face some difficulties, I think it also goes down to say that Nigeria is being, Nigerians are seen in a bad light out there. Then boiling down to the point he is trying to describe. Because most of all these things happening, civilized societies, advanced countries, they are actually abreast of all that is happening in Nigeria. And when they will interpret it, they will hyperlute it above what it is in Nigeria, really. So it is better that all the killings, all the menace that is happening politically and within the community should, so that the image of Nigeria will stand out. I am saying that he actually does not mean to insult Nigeria, but he's using that medium to comment that once they mention that name Nigeria, that they say is the lion of Africa, we should buttress that point in our character. Everything we do should showcase it. Whatever, I'm of the opinion that Nigerians should call themselves to order by stopping all the killings, the kidnapping, the banditry, the one they call herdsmen.
Oh, herdsmen.
Herdsmen, yes, very sorry. The one they call the herdsmen that is now a threat to farmers. I think all these things should be stopped, and that is the cry he is actually crying.
Okay. I thank you very much. You said it doesn't really matter if he says that right. Like
yes, I'm saying that is the choice of word he used to communicate his annoyance. It's a choice of word. He used to communicate his annoyance. That is to communicate the way he felt, how bad he feels, with respect to all the what I could call an evil that is happening. The killing of 17 soldiers is not an evil, it is an evil. And so he chose that choice of word to communicate it, trying to let us know that all we are doing does not end here in Nigeria. That when we are traveling to other countries, that we also should have a face, because we are facing a different person who is only going to judge you based on what they have heard concerning your country. I think that's the point.
Barrister Onyema, what do you think will be the impact? Yes, it is his choice of words, according to Barrister Ohale.
I want to condemn that statement. Because such a statement coming from such a leader,
being a former minister
of defense, is a very bad one. It's a very bad one. T.Y. Danjuma was once Minister of Defense in this country. And when he was Minister of Defense, there were crises. There is no time, no society that does not have issues. But if a leader as high as he is will come out and say such a thing publicly, at least it's a very bad one. It's a very bad one. We are all Nigerians. We know what is going on. And some of the killings here, they are all political. Some of the killings are politically motivated. Some of them are politically motivated, and especially the ones happening in North. So the ones happening in North. Look at how the issue of Boko Haram started. But they started, even this other one they call Miati Allah. If not the way that the federal government is following it up, it would have turned to a different thing. For T.Y. Danjuma, whatever thing he said about Nigeria, though it's his personal opinion, but it's bad that he will come out publicly to say such a derogating word against the Nigeria all of us belong to. That's my stake in that part.
All
Yes,
right.
sorry.
Okay. Do you have any other thing
yes,
to
my
say? Okay.
colleague said most of the killings are politically.
It's a most.
Yeah,
I didn't
most.
say
I
all.
said most.
Okay.
I repeated incorrectly. Are politically motivated.
Yes.
Then, if they are politically motivated, it means that T.Y. Danjuma should wipe them the more, because the word he used is Nigeria image that is at stake. Thank you.
All right. So, did you hear that what he just said?
Yes, but why I said I condemn that word is because he can write to the presidency if he feels anything is going wrong. A person of his caliber, he don't just come at him, because whatever he said, it has a weight.
Yes.
As a former defense minister,
Okay.
the weight attached to it, how people will think about it.
Because what you say as an, like he said, it's just his right choice of words.
Yes.
That's not
I
really bad.
know government will respond very soon.
Yes, exactly, because it was really straight to the point. It was so blunt to
Yes.
the image of Nigeria.
Yes.
Nigeria is a disgrace to the world.
To the world.
Then, if someone wants to come and invest in Nigeria, I think it's going to really have an impact on the person.
Of course.
Someone who wants to partner with Nigeria, someone who wants to really come and say, okay, I want to do business with Nigerians. They will look at, your former defense minister has said, no, Nigeria is a defense. Is quite a disgrace to the world. You can't do anything. Nobody should celebrate Nigerians as if we are the worst in the whole world. You know, like someone who is living in the zoo. And I think that's the point there. Well, at any rate, let's just look at what is happening in Sokoto State. We really talk about trending issues and so many issues, news, and we narrate them. Now, coming from Sokoto, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has confirmed the spread of the Sokoto and Zamfara strain disease to Kaduna with a total of 7 deaths. To this end, the center, which expressed worry that the disease may spread to other neighboring communities, has convened a high-level meeting with commissioners of health from the affected states. The Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Jide Idris, who disclosed this, said a total of 196 suspected cases have been reported across Ita, Sabon, Bining, and the Ilelia local government areas of Sokoto State since the outbreak surfaced on March 21, 2024. Idris stated that he had an emergency meeting with commissioners for health. The meeting was to assess the situation. He explained that the meeting started with a visit to Sokoto Public Health Emergency Operations Center, where updates on response activities ranging from case management, surveillance, risk communication, and community engagement, RCCE, were presented. Furthermore, challenges around limited diagnostic capacity in the state and the continued spread of the illness to neighboring localities, including Zamfara State, were raised. Among those present were representatives from the Sokoto State Ministry of Health, Sokoto State Primary Health Care Development Agency, and partner organizations such as the World Health Organization, WHO, United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, Medicine Sans Frontiers, MSF, and Health Africa, Solina Center for International Development and Research, and Breakthrough Action Nigeria. Idris emphasized the urgency of the situation while acknowledging the collaborative effort of all the stakeholders and expressing concern over the lack of a definitive diagnosis. Said, we are working with our sister agencies at the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, and the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development to ascertain the correct diagnosis of the illness. We have been assured that the result will be available tomorrow, and once we get it, information will be shared with the public, he affirmed. Idris said they also visited treatment facilities, witnessing firsthand the recovery of patients from the unknown illness. Okay, this is actually coming from Sokoto. We're saying that stranger disease spreads to Kaduna as deaths toll hits 7. We're actually looking at the situation of the country, whereby the economy is very bad. And now this is actually a fresh story, and this news is actually coming this morning, coming from Sokoto. Now, what do you think? None of you, none of us here, we're not medical personnel, but at least we may go into extinction. Because they said this just came up and it's killing, and they are unable to ascertain, to diagnose the cause of the illness.
Offer them first aid. Why they offer them first aid and look for solution to that problem? Because if that thing spreads, and considering the economic situation of this country, it will be too heavy on us as Nigerians.
Exactly. We cannot bear it.
No, we can't.
And because a lot of people
are struggling to even eat food. Talk of to take care of a strange illness. They are struggling to eat.
And the sickness doesn't have a name as we speak
now,
right now.
That's the problem.
It has not been confirmed.
That's the problem. And I don't know why our leaders, they find it difficult to invest in our health system.
Exactly.
They prefer going to abroad.
That's the area I'm trying to come in.
They don't like being proactive in issues of health. Keep all the necessary equipment, employ capable hands that can handle it immediately. Before you know it, now they will run to US or run to Germany or any of these our Western world to seek for solution. Why they have all the capable hands that can handle it here in Nigeria. Most of our health professionals are leaving because they have been underpaid. They have been underpaid. So the problem is something that, since it's something that is new, those people should be kept in a place where only medical professionals will have access to them and give them first aid where they look for solution to it.
All right, it's as if you just, you were reading my mind, because I was about to say that our Nigerian health system is actually nothing to write home about. That's why you used to mention when they are sick, those people at the top occupying the highest position. When they are sick, instead of them to fix our health facilities here, they run to abroad they seek for a better option. But they could still make it better here.
Yes.
They could still make it better here. So, and I was going to ask you this question now. How can you rate the Nigerian health system, the Nigerian health system care here in Nigeria? What can you say about it, and what should be done if it is not really to our standard, or what should be? Because if we have a good health facilities and actually working with this World Health Organization and all this, I think all these things will be reduced to the barest minimum.
All right, thank you very much. Like you, there is a point in my mind, and you mentioned it. So your worry is that the disease does not have a name. And inadvertently, they just gave the disease a name, unknown illness. Yes. Then, because in Nigeria, we also have unknown government, and the name, everybody is now abreast with it, unknown government. So now we also now have unknown illness. Well, I think that you rightly ask with respect to our health system. The Nigerian health system can only improve if there is a ban that nobody travels abroad for treatment.
Okay.
It's a very harsh one. Rather than traveling, they can bring in partners from any part of the world. And by so doing, it will also enhance the learning of our own professionals in Nigeria. Like my colleague rightly said, once a case like this shows up, the right thing to be done is to assemble all those who are experts on that field, those who have the requisite knowledge with respect to that area. They should be assembled to look for solution, not looking out for the solution elsewhere or anywhere they can import somebody to actually come and diagnose and tell us the name of the disease. Nigeria has come to a level where issues like this, Nigerians should be able to diagnose and also tell us the name of the disease and the way forward. So our health system, the essence of health system is to take care of health problem. And when the health system is collapsing, I think it imposes danger. And part of the danger is what is coming up now. Because the health system is not properly equipped, the manpower is not there. Even those who try to procure the manpower, like my colleague rightly mentioned, they will now also travel to the civilized country where they have sufficiency of such manpower, rather than even trying to utilize it here in Nigeria. Now, could we say that the reason is because they are not being recognized with respect to giving them the right pay, or paying them in a way and manner that will actually boost their mindset that actually my country appreciates whom I am? Sorry, let me say this. The Nigerian government can pay any amount to an expatriate, but when it comes to the citizens, who also perform the same function that expatriate will, when he comes to Nigeria, they will underpay. I think that is part of the area Nigerian government need to work on. If Nigerian government will start appreciating professionals who are actually skilled in a particular area, field of medicine, law, just name them, I think that nobody will even dream of traveling abroad to practice his or her profession. Rather, they will think of creating avenue to solve problems in their various fields. Motivation is very important. When you feel you are less wanted, the next thing that comes to your mind is going for where you will be most needed. I think that in this circumstance that the health sector in Nigeria is something that the federal government ought to look into. Not just looking into it by building gigantic infrastructure. If you ask me, I will tell you that the health system is not the structure. Our people are wired towards building gigantic structures, high-rising buildings. They will call it any name they may wish to call it. It could be ultra-modern hospital, it could be cancer center, it could be any name they may call. But the real thing is not there. I think we should come to a level where we realize that even though the people are in a kiosk, and inside that kiosk, they can be able to diagnose and give us the name of the known disease. I think I prefer it that way. Let us not be putting so much money in building structures rather than buying the right equipment, training manpowers in a way and manner they can be able to solve problems. I think we should have a reorientation in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, you said it's not about building gigantic infrastructure and all of that. So they have to,
equip train manpower, workforce.
That is the main. Do you have anything to say about?
No. I align myself with this.
Okay. So thank you very much. I said they have to really look into the equipment and the manpower, because if you don't look at the equipment, if they have equipment, they would have diagnosed the strange, the strange disease, of course. Because they wouldn't just say it's an unknown disease, it will keep spreading, just like we have the COVID-19.
Is it the level we can only go in Nigeria?
Exactly.
No.
So what we are actually begging for, we are on ask and we are pleading for the federal government to look into the health care system here in Nigeria, because it is really telling on us. We do not want to experience what really happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. And after COVID-19 pandemic, we also experienced chicken pox, we also experienced Lassa fever, we also experienced Ebola and all of that. And a lot of people were really affected. And if you're not healthy, you can't function. Once you're healthy, you'll be able to discharge your duties effectively. And you also, because we have a lot of issues, we are really combating in Nigeria, just like other countries. We have a lot of issues here. We're not talking about the fuel hike. We're not talking about the naira depreciation, although we're saying that it's appreciating. But that's a story for another day. But a whole lot of things is affected, So no one is happy. No one is smiling. We're just trying to manage, because we are hoping that one day, someday, Our leaders, they are going to lead us well. They are not going to lead us astray.
That's our prayer.
All right, now we have also stories coming from Abuja. And Abuja Federal High Court has discharged and acquitted a former Attorney General of the Federation AGF, Mohammed Bello Adoke, of money laundering charges. Justice Nyang Eko of the Federal High Court Abuja upheld Adoke's no-case submission against the money laundering charges against him. In 2017, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had dragged Adoke and Abubakar Liu, a property developer, to court for allegedly laundering about 300 million naira. While the EFCC admitted before ECO that it was a mortgage that Adoke took from Unity Bank, it alleged before Justice Kutugi that the money was a bribe from the sale of the oil block by Malabo Oil and Gas Limited in 2011. And on March 28, 2024, Kutugi pointed out that the contradiction while dismissing the charges against Adoke and other defendants charged EFCC, Economic and Financial Commission crime, EFCC. So they actually, this man has a case to answer, and this case has really lingered for over 4 years now about money laundering and other people who they said he connived and squandered our money, ranging from 300 million naira. Now they say he has been discharged and acquitted. You look at the case. I know I have just given you a brief review of the case. What can you say about that? I'm talking to you, Barrister Nyema.
Well,
what's your reaction on that?
Yes, let me react.
It's a criminal matter.
It is. And one thing about criminal matter is that now he has been discharged and acquitted, so nobody can arraign him again.
Okay.
He has been discharged and acquitted, so nobody can.
Okay, so they won't call up the case anymore?
No. In respect of his own case, that one is over.
Okay.
For Adoke.
Oh, for Adoke, yes.
And another thing about issues like this is the heart of law is evidence.
Okay.
If any person that is prosecuting has a weighty evidence that is very cogent that point to the fact that the person actually committed the offense, I think the person will not be acquitted. Because courts look at the document before it, and the argument canvassed by the lawyers in passing judgment. For them to have acquitted, for them to acquit Adoke, it means there is no evidence that is weighty to convict him. And the prosecution, being the EFCC, they were unable to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt, because it's a criminal case. It's not based on a preponderance of evidence. You must prove your case beyond reasonable doubt to convince the court that the person actually committed the offense. I think that's the reason for acquitting him.
Okay. Barrister Ohale, do you have anything to say? You are lawyers.
Yes.
What can you say about the matter? There's a criminal case, of course, I know.
It's a criminal case.
And him being the first defendant,
Yes.
and they said probably they couldn't prove it beyond reasonable doubt that he committed such offense. So it lingered for about 4 years.
About
4 years, yes. From 2017 till now. Yes, it's 4 years. So looking at the...
They were saying that he defrauded or they defrauded.
Yes, he like him, because he had another... Wow.
Yes, in criminal law. Now, it takes how far criminal law guides every individual. Now, with respect to that, if someone say you have defrauded money, it is the prosecution that has to show that elements of fraud. It is the duty of the prosecution to actually convince the court that you actually did that very act. The act of fraud, deceit, is something that is being guided by the criminal code and penal code. In the criminal code, which operates in the southern states of Nigeria, while the penal code operates in the northern states of Nigeria.
Okay.
Now, under the criminal code, in the case of fraud, you must show that there was deception. You must show that there was intent to defraud. and you must show that there was material harm that was caused.
Okay.
The material harm could be loss of money, loss of reputation, or now that you see in section 419, 421, 422, and 423 of the Criminal Code. And under the Penal Code, you get that offense in section 320, 322, and 323. These provisions actually dealt with circumstances one may be convicted on the offense of fraud, deceit, and or offenses of that nature. Now he's discharged and also acquitting him, which ends the matter on his own part. It will be very clear, more definitive and apparent that the judge or the court have actually looked at the pros and cons of the matter and see that he has no prima facie case to answer. To support that is the statement by the judge that Aliu has a case to answer, balancing their decision.
I didn't know that for as long as you're the first defendant, you can also go, you can be acquitted and discharged.
Yes.
Now, does it mean that being acquitted and discharged, the matter will not be called up again on its own part?
Yes, yes.
And there won't be any further investigation?
With respect to his case, that ends his own matter.
Okay, that ends his own matter.
Yes.
Then the
But
second
however,
defendant...
let us put this. How he can just based on the grounds of appeal available. He can just based on the grounds of appeal available.
Yes.
Okay.
Then he can then, but on a higher court, where this person will come, where the...
Now, we want to go on a short break. When we come back with... Saturday, and this morning, very beautiful morning, of course, barrister. That's DCP Oyedemi has been found dead in his private home in Obomoshoyo State. He also served as the camp ADC to a former governor of Oyo State.
Even including dissatisfaction at workplace, but we should be able to be contented and then be satisfied. You pull on, and then probably there may be a turnaround, whatever it is.
All right, thank you so very much. Like you've heard what he enumerated about what could really made it touch so many things. It could be family issues, work issues, whatever. Although he's serving, he's really inactive for us. But now, what can you? Let's look at suicide on its own, homicide on its own. What can you advise the public? What do you have to tell the public about homicide?
Well, first of all, I condone with the family, and may the soul of the departed rest in peace. This investigation has not gone beyond seeing the perimeter. Now, generally, one thing the public should know is that there are factors responsible for suicide. Those who actually attempted or did not succeed may have reviewed one or two things which we will also share. Now, but one will not fail to mention that if you attempt to take your own life, you've committed an offense under the criminal law. But if it is successful, then you go to the position of the law. If you attempt suicide, you can be charged for attempting to take your own life. Nobody is permitted to take his life. So, but he's successful, like in this case, then he goes there. Now, talking about the factors, it could be a product of depression. And depression is very active when the source of depression or the source that gave rise to one being depressed is not communicated to anybody. Those who commit suicide prior to the time they committed that suicide, if you watch their countenance, if one may be able to decode, you see that they may be moved for so many days. They may not like to interact with people. Even when you want to gist with them, they will avoid. They will say, just leave it there, leave it there, leave it there. I'm thinking something else. So depression, that is the work.
Where, yeah. Except where someone instigated that suicide.
Okay.
Someone aided in doing that suicide.
Okay.
So you can see where that other person who is alive, maybe someone actually took off the stool from off your feet.
Oh, right.
Someone brought the stool, or someone brought the rope. So in any way, if someone was involved in aiding that process of another person dying,
the person
you killed that person.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yes.
So you aided and abetted.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. So when you aid, you also have to go in for
Exactly. There's one other important thing he said about depression, which is why. Let me just give a short illustration.
Okay.
There was this factory that made very beautiful car. The architecture of that car was wonderful. It wowed all the workers in the factory. And then, but they were building that car in the warehouse. And then when they were building the car, they never imagined that after building that car, in driving out, everybody came, everybody was excited about that vehicle in the warehouse. So it was time to pull the car out. When they drove and got to the point where to drive out the exit, the car couldn't come out of the factory or the warehouse because of the height of the door. Okay. Everybody was confused. What do? We can't spoil the car, we can't do anything. How do we take this car out? All sorts of ideas. It took the lowest of the workers in that factory to suggest something on how to get this car out. You know what he did? He said, just deflate the tire.
Wow.
So there was nothing they could do for that beautiful vehicle to be brought out of that warehouse or wherever it was manufactured in the factory. But the only thing they could do to bring it out, even if that idea came from the lowest of the workers, they said deflate the tire. So what he meant by the depression, just deflate. Just let certain things go.
Exactly.
As they deflated the tire, they didn't destroy anything. The car was able to come lower and it came out. I inflated the tire again and the car was still just...
Exactly.
Wow.
So you let it go.
So deflate. People should learn to deflate. Just let things go. Okay? Whether it's depression, whatever it is, let it go and you will stay alive. You come alive again.
All right.
And yeah, thank you. Because everyone is going through one or two challenges. All of us, we have something that worries us. We have something that disturbs us. We have something that perturbs us. Either family member, much and you're earning later, or some kind of depression. So you also need to learn how to deflate. I think I've learned something now. You need to let go of some things and know how to manage issues in order for you to live. Because if you try to take your life and you did not succeed, you'll be punished. Like someone, yes, that's an attempted murder, you'll be punished, though you want to inflict it on yourself. But as a matter of fact, you now see, you'll be tortured. And if you also aid the person who wants to commit suicide in one or two ways, you're also going to go in for it. So everyone has to be very careful, know what is legal and what is illegal for you to live and be happy. There are some persons who are also managing their lives. Your own is not the worst. Mine is not the worst. But we are here, we are putting on smiling faces because God has really been faithful to all of us. We have something we are all managing. We have something we are all going through. No one is free. All right, let's now take a quick look at what's happening again. A mechanic, Jonathan Marcos, has been arrested over the gruesome murder of an elderly couple at the residence at Akpo Legislative Quarters in Abuja. This is actually happening right now. Marcos, who often worked as a chauffeur to the deceased, identified as Adebola Ezekiel, 80, and his wife, Abiondu Ezekiel, 79, was among several suspects paraded by the Commissioner of Police, Federal Capital Territory Command, Bennett Igwe, during a press conference yesterday being Friday. Igwe revealed that the police began an investigation immediately after the incident occurred on March 31, 2024, and we are able to arrest the suspect, a former driver to the deceased couple. He noted that policemen trailed the suspect and arrested him in his hideout in Obajana, Kogi State. Igwe claimed that the suspect had freely confessed to having gained access to the house of the same date, slit the throats of the couples, and made away with their phones and automated teller machine cars, that's ATM cars. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police also revealed that the command on April 11, 2024, arrested another 2 suspects for alleged culpable homicide in the Mabush area of Abuja. Igwe said the suspects were arrested by policemen from the Mabush division following a tip-off that the corpse of one Biliksu Mohammed was being discreetly conveyed. It said the deceased had earlier visited the house of her supposed boyfriend, who eventually traveled to Kano and left her in the care of the female suspect. The deceased allegedly fell ill and was given non-prescribed drugs that led to her death by the male suspect, who came into the house on the invitation of the female suspect. Now, he said the suspect were currently in police custody, as we can see there with the police undergoing interrogation. Igwe further disclosed that the Otako division, in a well-coordinated operation on April 6, 2024, arrested 9 suspected armed robbers. The CP said the suspect during interrogation also freely confessed to being part of an armed robbery gang responsible for a series of robberies and other heinous crimes in the FCT. He said 4 locally fabricated AK-47 rifles, 3 locally fabricated cartridges rifles, 1 English pistol, and 1 Dane gun were recovered from the suspect. Other items recovered from the suspect were 3 live rounds of 7.62 mm ammunition, 1 live round of 5.56 mm ammunition, and an empty cartridge. The CP said all the suspects will be charged in court upon the conclusion of the investigation. All right, this is really very pathetic. It's quite disheartening. First of all, it's a story about a couple who was murdered. They were murdered in their own apartment just because they had a driver. And then this is actually leading us to insecurity. This is happening in Abuja. But the story reaching us this morning said, yesterday evening, they said the guy has been apprehended. He was a man they hired as a chauffeur who, drives them, they pay him, they come, takes care of the cars and all of that. These are, at least, they are quite aged. They are aged couple. Now, it's happening in the FCT. And we are talking about security and insecurity in the FCT, because that place should be, first of all, secured first of all. Now, the police have really apprehended this man, and I believe they have to cross-examine him, they have to interrogate and investigate what really happened, because they said he made away with his phones, they made away with the ATMs and all of that. So he has already planned this before killing it. He has already talked about it. I don't know what, that's a word lawyers use. Premeditated murder, right? Yes, it's been premeditated on this issue. So what can you say about this? And then the people, both those people, whether you are a politician, whether you're occupying a position or not, whether you are among the elite or not, what should be done in order to prevent such thing from repeating itself? Because this is actually disheartening. It can happen to anybody.
Again, unfortunately, it's a negative report.
Yes.
My heart again goes to the senior citizen, the old man, and then his wife. May their souls rest in peace. Apo again, and that was deliberate for me. Apo legislative quarters had actually in the past been in this kind of heinous reports and homicide. Then Mabushi and Utako, yes, these are areas in the FCT that at different times have had negative reports in terms of criminal behaviors. They are Apo legislative quarters area, particularly. Okay. Apo is one of those, if you like, an outskirts from the city center in Abuja.
It's a little bit far
yes,
from my
then Mabushi is those 2 elderly people in Abuja. To Obajana, and that's Kogi State. So that's impressive. That's number one, because crime may be committed. Yes, the police has the responsibility, statutorily so, under the Police Act 2020, to prevent crime. But where crime has been committed, then to arrest, to investigate. Nigerian states, in terms of preventing crime, should be more deliberate and determined to ensuring that if we can't completely stop criminally minded persons from carrying out crime, but to reduce the number of crimes that may be committed in society. And then that's where I think that I recall there were times we've talked about Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Abuja on the closed circuit television project, that is CCTV project, but failed. Failed for political reasons, with lack of will, and then perhaps from their own intentions not to be effective with security, so that we do not prevent crimes, perhaps if they had the intentions to do so. Because if you have an effective, wide coverage of the closed circuit television project in Abuja, then it meant that you'll be able to quickly see how people are having suspicious movement around, like the one you reported, the other one where some persons moved around and someone may have been administered some unprescribed drugs, and then somebody may have died, and then the attempts to probably move bodies. These things could be seen very quickly, and then probably even when people are planning crime, we should have a situation where technology could assist to see suspicious movement of persons. So the control room, the control center, will be able to alert some of the closest centers to monitor some suspicious movement. That's how crime is nipping the bud elsewhere. That's why you see that elsewhere the level of criminality is reduced. Not that they don't have criminal elements or antisocial behavior.
So like I tell people that.
And again, our value system is also some trouble. There must be something that probably instigated or inspired that chauffeur to design to kill his employers, that old man and that woman. And it's not far-fetched. You could see that after he killed them, he took away their ATM card. So that could be monetary motivation. He took away some other gadgets and materials of this old person that he was supposed to actually provide care again. Then another thing is for families, for citizens, and especially children of the elderly, because I want to believe that perhaps the children or relatives of these elderly man and woman may have contracted the chauffeur and all of that. We should be very careful when we are recruiting caregivers, okay, especially for our older ones. Be very careful when you're recruiting caregivers for older ones. Seek out for professional caregivers. And then also be sure that you know people that you employ. These are security tips. Not just the elderly ones. You know people that you employ. You know people that provide domestic services to you indeed. Know them deep to their background, and know them deep to even what kind of composition, what kind of persons they are. If possible, contract. Do outsourcing from probably organizations that you can get to, and they may have done small profiling before you get.
Because I was going to ask that question, like what to do? Yes, exactly.
In your house.
Because these are preventable. These things you can really, they are highly preventable. You know, I was going to ask you that. You know, what do you think could have really made this young man, this young chauffeur, to really kill them? Could it be that he was not profiled well before being employed, or they didn't get to know him very well, or could it be that the family were living flamboyantly? Because that's the one thing. There's a way you might be living, you know, like you have all, you have everything, or maybe your children, or maybe the people that comes around, you know, the way they choose, you know, the way their characters really show, oh, we have something. And then another person or a worker, either a domestic worker or someone like a chauffeur like him, could also say, okay, because there is something, and he got interested and said, okay, I'm going to take their lives and then take away their money. Because the first of all, where he went was the ATM and the phones.
All right.
You know, so...
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, what's your reaction?
My colleague haven't expatiated well, so we'll now talk on factors that could lead to that. And of a factor that could lead to this. The driver was telling me that this man is too rich. I may not mention the area. Say that the man is too rich. I should look at how fat is the child. the wife and the man, that they don't care for anybody. I should just see the way they are, that man is the last person that will get. He has driven them for about, say about 5-6 years. I should look at how he looks like. There is nothing to show in his life. That very soon he's going to leave them. This is life story in one of the companies that fixes our like that. Now, I only encourage him. He said that he doesn't have it, that after a while now he will just try and leave them. But that the man cannot give you 1 naira free.
Wow.
Now, driving it home to the issue on ground, it could be that he felt neglected. Let's talk about neglect.
Okay.
But before we also consummate that factor, we must actually condemn that no factor on earth should lead one to go and slaughter, kill your employer. Not even any person at all. It is a very highly condemnable act, because even him now will go in for murder, because it is a capital offense. So we are putting it to the general public first of all, before we start even talking about the factor of the dangers in doing that. The dangers in doing that is that, sorry for digressing from the factor, the dangers in doing that is that when you do that, you also have endorsed for your own death.
Okay.
Going to kill another person is an endorsement of your own death, because the Nigerian law cannot change with respect to capital offense.
Okay.
The law is that when you kill a person, the person must also be killed. Either the person will die by hanging, this is in military regime, it could be by shooting, but howsoever being procured, the person must die. That is the Nigerian law. So, to the general public, have it at the back of your mind that before you begin killing another person, that you have also endorsed that you are going to die. So if you don't want to die, don't indulge in killing any other person. Now, the factor that could lead to somebody start nursing that in his heart, which actually was not, it may not have happened within 1 year. Remember that story I told you? See, he has driven them for 6 years. And throughout these 6 years, he has been pondering how they are not caring for him. Now, in this case, it could be that this aged couple, their children may be well-to-do. Maybe bring this as a driver for them, or the couple may be well-to-do, howsoever described. But the basic thing is that it could be that the young man, like you look at how he looks on that picture, so he's looking hungry. So it could be that he was being neglected. It could be that he felt nobody cares for him. He's just suffering for the family. You know, taking care of the aged one could also be somehow, it is a tax, in fact. So driving them, he may also sometimes go out of his way to do some domestic things and all those things. So all those he put together, and you now see that he's not being appreciated in a way and manner that it could be seen that they know he's doing something. So now, that weighs in his heart, but he went too far. It would have been better he actually voiced out and say, why are you people not helping me? Talk to the children, why are you people not helping me? That is the best way to go. And again, I want to say it, no matter the religion you belong, do not employ somebody that does not have the fear of God. The fear of God is the foundation of every employment, if you ask me a question, on earth. Because one who has the fear of God believes in God and knows that following the word of God, that one ought not to do some certain evil. That is the plan. So even when he's pushed to the wall, he will not dive into it, because he has a check. He has a check, sorry. So that is number one for employing, particularly like my colleague said, all these domestic workers and all those things. That's very, very important. Another thing again is, now this one is very, very important for the general public. I also use this particular method. When you are working with me and I discover that we are flowing from the onset, things are going well. Once the relationship is soured, package some money. I believe in giving as a lifestyle by His grace, by the grace of God. Everybody should have giving alms to people as a lifestyle. Package something. You can pay the person off. Sorry, for these 2 years, you have served me very well. I actually appreciate you. But for now, you can just relax. Let me just actually handle things myself. You give the person the package. You know, what we're doing here is a lesson for the public.
Exactly.
So be very, very observant to know when the person working with you have lost joy. Know when he has lost the confidence. Know when he has lost the love he has for you. By the grace of God, I have some workers. I see that the manager loves me so much. And to know one who loves you is not difficult. The young boy loves me so much. He works and he schools in Uniport, but he loves me so much. Oh. Now, this love, he has been with me for less about 2 years now. Now, if that relationship
gets soured,
will you say I will not know?
You will know.
I will know when it is getting sour. And as a Christian and a born again, I will call him. Sorry, this is what you normally do. This is what you do. But now, I'm not seeing it that way. He will tell you something.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so very much. And I think these legal luminaries have really dished out a lot of things for us to know. We're actually talking about it. We are looking at the totality of the circumstances surrounding the death of the murder of this 80-year-old man and wife in Abuja, who just employed a chauffeur only just to meet their death, unknown to them. That they're going to just die. Probably if they are left alive, they could have been like up to 90, because I know that really taking care of themselves. So there are a lot of factors we need to know. If you're an employer, you have to be very careful. Relationship matters. Your communication matters. The way you carry yourself matters. Your children matters. Everything matters. So you have to be very vigilant. And even you, before you employ anyone, you also need to, know who you are employing, where the person comes from. You have to know when the person's countenance changes, how the person talks to you. And although it's not written on the face, being a murderer, it's not written on the face. Now, someone can commit a murder because I know a lot of people who commit this heinous crime. Most of them are just the quiet people. You can hardly know. You can even swear for them. But because it's not written on the face, we need to take proactive measures. We need to be very vigilant. We need to be very careful because, one, if you are not having anything, it could be inherent. There are some persons who have it in their blood. Something that runs in a family circle. This person killed this person also killed this person. So you need to know the person you are employing. And if you are being employed as well, know that whatever you do, either you be killed or you be jailed. And people are watching you. The society is also watching you. Nigerians are also watching you. So both the employer and the employee, and like he rightly said, I think I picked something from there when he said communication matters. When someone is losing interest in you, you will know. Either you discharge the person, you hire and fire. As a matter of fact, driver work, you're not supposed to keep this person for a long time. You are not supposed to keep the person for a long time, no matter what, how good the person is. At a point, you can discharge, because most of these killings are from the drivers. And if you're not treating them well, it could also, but though, no matter what your employer exhibits, no matter the kind of trait, character you've seen, you are not supposed to take the life of someone who employs you. Well, I don't know if there's a quick thing you need to add there, because I want to, my colleague on the control room has been really flashing the stories I wrote on concerning the Nigerians living in South Africa. So I want us to go into South Africa right now.
Yes.
All right. The South African Police Service have arrested 8 Nigerians for allegedly attacking the operatives and damaging their vehicles during a drug raid. The Northern Cape Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Koliswa Otala, confirmed the incident that happened in Northern Cape on Friday. According to a South African Police Service statement, at the time of the arrest, police were tracing information of one of the Nigerian nationals in possession of drugs. While conducting this search, a large group of Nigerians attacked police. Police fired rubber bullets to disperse the crowd, SAP said. One suspect was arrested for illegal drug possession and 3 were detained at the Kimberley police station for public violence, South African government news agency said. In addition, you can see that's your brother. While the policemen were processing the case, suspect broke windows at the station. The police have since added charges of malicious damage to property. The South African police added Another group of Nigerians later approached the police station and threatened to retaliate. The operational commander warned the group to disperse. Upon dispersing, the group damaged police vehicles, while another 4 suspects were arrested for malicious damage to property. Otola has since condemned this behavior and stated that those who hinder police from exercising their duties will be brutally dealt with. We will not allow such lawless behavior. We are processing the suspects and working with Home Affairs to determine if they are legally or illegally in the country. Police will continue to stamp the authority of the state in the Northern Cape, he said. Like, I know you've really seen the picture of the young man and the Nigerians. This is actually happening in South Africa. Our people there, Nigerians, we are all Nigerians. As a matter of fact, we are speaking from Port Harcourt. Barrister Ekine Henry, I don't know how you are looking at this. What do you think is the impact of their behavior to Nigerians' image?
Thank you. It remains allegation, but whatever it is, it's negative impacts, negative reflection of who we are. Nigerians or citizens of any country have responsibility to protect the image of that country. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is also to that effect. Section 24, which the citizens' responsibility to the state, is also to protect the image of the country, to ensure the observance and protection of the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whether you are in the country or outside of the country. So when you leave your country and then you are in another country, you live there, then you are a reflection of your country. You are a representative of your country. You are an ambassador of your country, more or less. So, and this is not the first time we have heard similar reports of, if you like, negative conducts or behaviors allegedly in South Africa. And then to hear you read this, and then where the police has actually arrested someone on allegation of commission of a crime, and of course drugged, and taking the person in. And if relatives feel that that arrest was untoward, or if relatives feel that that arrest was not justified, it was unlawful and illegal, I believe that the South African Constitution and other laws in South Africa are also to the effect that what would happen is you bring the person before the court, and then the prosecution, that is the state, has the responsibility. The onus is on the prosecution, just as it is here, one of the earlier cases that my colleagues also examined here, to present the evidence they have, credible, reliable, weighty evidence. And if they establish the allegation of the commission of crime, drugs in this regard, then the person will be convicted. But if they're unable to establish, like the case of Andoka that we imagined here, and then there was no case submission, and he was discharged and acquitted. So, but the conduct of protesting malicious, they see now, my colleague here also said the same, Jude, that sometimes in displaying certain unlawful conduct, you are constituting another offense. You are constituting another offense. Where the young man that was taken in the first instance was an allegation of dealing in drugs, unlawful, illegal dealing in drugs, and then in conducting themselves, relatives and probably other Nigerians who wanted to probably react in that regard, got involved in malicious damage. Malicious damage is an offense. Damaging public, whether it's public or private in that regard, damaging public property is another offense. And then they rounded them up even in that regard. And then the police is saying, we are processing this matter. We are on it. You'll never know whether they will even get the person exculpated if nothing is found on him. So for me, Nigerians who presently are outside of the country, wherever you're living, remember that you are an image of the country, and then you have a responsibility to protect the integrity and the image of the country, and then to also conduct yourself within the laws of that place where you are. Dealing in drugs, it's not acceptable anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. So, and if you want to choose a business, why not choose a legitimate business? And then you want to get involved in drugs. But it remains an allegation until the investigation also prove otherwise. But for me, I think we have to conduct ourselves wherever we are, live within the laws, and then also protect and enhance the image of the country.
Thank you so very much. Now, let me just a quick word from you. Time is no longer on our side.
Yes,
Of course,
yes,
you know that.
absolutely.
So, what is your advice to Nigerian in diaspora?
Straight to the point. My advice to them is that if you know you don't have business traveling abroad or traveling to any country, neighboring country, don't travel. If your intent is to go and push drug or do illegal business, don't travel, because it's giving Nigeria a bad name. So our people should learn to have a legit thing to do before they travel to any country or any part of the world, to still retain the image of Nigeria and portray it in a good light. And when you are out there, do things that will bring Nigeria to a good light and not to actually damage the image of the country Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. Whatever you're doing, you have to be very careful. And now, the police will also have to investigate. So some of them really migrated to South Africa illegally. Now, if you are found that you are there, and as an illegal migrant, definitely you're going to be repatriated, isn't it?
Excellent, exactly.
Yes, so he's now left.
And that's what happens. Once if an immigrant commits a crime in any country, even in Nigeria, the first thing that will be done is the first to profile the legality of your just like I think it was even here we were discussing the deforesting of a certain forest reserve in Cross River State, and Chinese were involved and all of that. The immigration was called in. So the first check is to even check the propriety
know how they
of
entered, whether they entered legally or illegally.
Yes.
Because that's the first thing.
That's the first thing.
Once you're a foreigner, and so for those of us, anyway, so for those of you that are warming to Sakpa and Jakpa, I don't know the name. That's the name they use. They say Jakpa and Jakpa. Okay. So for those of you who are actually trying to migrate and leave Nigerians, you have to really behave yourself. Because once the Nigerian system is actually different from their own system. All of us, we operate different systems when it comes to handling of matters like criminal matters, interrogation, investigation. They will get to the root of it, and then you are there to represent Nigerians. You are there to represent your family and also make ends meet and help your family members. So if you are there, if you get yourself involved in any of these crimes and you're found culpable, you will face the full weight of the law. You're not in jail. You may be killed, and that's the much you can take for today on